I'm Jan Miller, and I live on Oxford Street, which is just, about 4 blocks from here.
My name's Jim Miller. We live in Oxford, about 500 north, in that area of Oxford.
Okay.
And we've lived here about 3 years,
I think it's closer to 4 years now.
2 to 3 years. I forget exactly what day it was.
Yeah, at some point it just kind of becomes a blur.
Yeah.
Where were you living before you moved here?
We actually lived in Beech Grove. Jim had lived here like back in the early 80s, and he had the house. And when we got married, we moved to Shelbyville, or I was already living in Shelbyville at that time, and he moved out there, and then we lived in Beech Grove where we were raising our children. And he rented his property here in the city for all of those years.
Since '84.
Yeah.
Oh. So what made you decide to move here instead of continuing to rent it out?
Well, one thing she mentioned that our kids were out of school. We didn't really want the kids to go to APS necessarily.
Okay.
So we went to Beech Grove schools. But after that, we decided that the house that we had had a lot of promise. And then we could see a ministry here in our city. So
Okay. But why is that important?
the
Ministry?
The ministry.
Well, because there's just a lot of hurting people here in the inner city, and we like to be able to reach out to them and bring the gospel to them.
And it's not just important to us. We feel like that God has led us to that.
Right, right.
Okay.
That when we feel, when we know that God leads us to do something, then it'd be hard to fight against God.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Actually, it was kind of neat because back, I would say maybe 6 years ago, the people that lived in our house had just totally destroyed it, and we spent like 6 months getting it to the point that it was livable to rent out again. And all that time that we were doing that, I kept kind of thinking, this would be kind of a neat old house, and we could do this or we could do that, and just kind of felt drawn here.
That's an interesting way of putting it, because you're not the first person who has told me something similar. And my wife and I, we live in Windsor Park. We moved there about 3.5 years ago. We kind of felt the same thing. We're just kind of drawn to it for different reasons than what you've expressed. But there's still some pull that I think a lot of people find that they can feel. They don't, a lot of times they don't really have a way to put it in words, but that is interesting. So how would you describe the neighborhood to someone who's never been here? What would you tell them it's like, or the community at large?
Well, when we talk about our neighborhood, it's fairly quiet in our neighborhood, but all around the areas, it's we don't see a lot of the problems that are happening. I mean, right in our area. A lot of stuff that we hear about, either through this church, we haven't run into a lot of problems themselves, but so we kind of see it as a way to reach out to people when we do come across something. Like 2 houses down, we have people that stay at the guy's house and come and go, and they know about us, and if they need something, they'll come to us. We'll help them out.
Yeah, we've also met quite a few like homeless people. Just on our porch, people will come up to us, and we've been able to at different times, do some things to help people, improve where they were at. Helped a couple get a temporary job that that, you know, made a difference in their situation this last winter. They were able to have a place to live. Also, we started a block club, which has been fun. We've had some neighborhood cleanups and like hot dog roasts and that kind of thing together. It's really kind of interesting to see a real diverse group right in our neighborhood. There are probably what, 4 or 5 houses right on our street that these folks have lived there like for years and years. And
Some of them were there when I was living there
Really?
yeah, yeah.
in the 80s.
And
Couple.
then you'll have a house that's vacant, or you'll have a house that you know, has like,
That's one of our main concerns in the area, is the vacant houses that are run down. They're not run down to the point where the health department can tear them down as a foundation, or the structure has to be messed up before they do that. But, so some of them need to be fixed up, especially the one next to us.
yeah,
We're concerned about.
yeah. The dumping in the alleys is really a frustration to us too. Graffiti. There was a house across the street that was vacant at one point, and I went over and, you know, I did some graffiti removal, got some of that off, and now at the end of our alley there's a Mexican restaurant, and it's got graffiti all over the back, and I'm kind of thinking, well, we need to, you know, get our group together and see if we can paint that. I've been calling the health department about picking up some things in the house that's like standing wide open, but I haven't got a response yet. First time they came out and did it, and then, you know, they all started dumping there again. So that's really, you know, that's one thing. I think that was probably one of the hardest things for me when I moved into the area. It was like, no big deal just to throw your stuff out in the alley, but to me, that's not how you live.